Sales Studio, featuring our host, Bob Perkins.
Hi everyone, this is Bob Perkins coming to you from Inside Sales Studio. Thanks for viewing this video. I'm so pleased to be with Josiane Feigon. How are you, Josiane?
I'm great, Bob.
Josiane has 25 plus years experience in inside sales, starting out as a practitioner and then moving to a consultant. She's currently the president of Telesmart. And again, it's great to have you with us today. A true thought leader, a big supporter of the association and the community. Josiane, why don't you take a minute, just give the audience a brief background in case there's some there that aren't familiar with you.
Okay, absolutely. Hi, everybody. It's good to be here. I've had my company, Telesmart, for about 22 years now. And before that, I started as an individual contributor in inside sales and then decided to build a company training inside salespeople. Now it's turned into a global company, and we train the people, the team level, and also the managers. And then I've published my 2 source books for inside sales around the smart selling title.
Yeah, I remember reading some chapters out of the manager's book. What's the name of that one again?
Sales Manager.
Yeah, that had some great stuff in it. Hopefully we're going to hear some of these insights today. I know you've been looking at some trends recently around inside sales. Can you talk to us about those?
I have. You know, I really enjoy this trend watch and trend spotting part of my world. I'm really fascinated with trends, and actually last year I went ahead and even took some courses on future trends and what it meant to be. I also went to the World Future Society, and the whole futurist field is really fascinating. And so I've applied that to my trend reports. Every year I put together this trend report that has, you know, what I think are viable, important trends to really look at, especially in the sales world. And I also published the in and out list of what's in and what's hot. That's more of a fun list. But this trend report really becomes a bit of a roadmap for a lot of people looking at the changes that they need to think about.
Sure. What are one or two that, can you give us a sneak peek at one or two
Sure.
that you're seeing?
Sure. Well, this year, what I did was I really dedicated it to the workforce of the future. Last year, our trend report was dedicated to the millennials, you know, those wacky and wonderful millennials. But because this year we have 5 generations in the workplace, 5.
Wow.
I really thought that what needed attention is really the workforce and how they all really come together. And so that was the first thing, is that I dedicated it to the workforce of the future. And, you know, the generation that has just entered the workplace is what we're calling the generation, the M2s, or the Generation Z. And don't you have kids that age? They're around the 19 to 22 year age.
Nah, I have one that just turned 22, so
okay,
that's one, yeah.
Okay, so they might be, but that's really the workforce that's just entering this year.
Yeah.
And, you know, these are the kids that were brought up with smartphones.
Yeah.
So it's a very different audience. It's a very different talent pool that we've had.
I was just talking with someone earlier today about this digital selling phenomenon, and I went on to say how today, how do I consume? I go to the internet, I go to Amazon, I want it quick, I want it easy, I want it on my terms, and I want to do it on this.
That's right.
So we're seeing decision makers in companies making big purchases, and they want to do it like this, like they consume. Are you seeing any of that weave into your research?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, everything has to be digitally digested, right? We're all right here, okay? And we're really finding that everything has to happen. Mobile apps is going to be the biggest it's ever been. I mean, everyone is averaging. I have even in one of my trends here in terms of a mobile app, that there's 1.8 billion worldwide smartphone users, and 280 million of these are launching at least 60 times a day. They're launching their apps.
That's incredible. So let's take that thought process and sort of translate it into our world of, building inside sales, building sales development, SDRs, to try to make more revenue for a company. What does that mean for the leaders out there that are building these teams or themselves?
I really feel that what's happening is that a lot of these leaders are still working from yesterday. They're still using job descriptions for SDRs that were yesterday. They still really believe that inside sales is all about the phone, and it's not. Okay.
I couldn't agree with you more. They're still holding on to yesterday's metrics.
Exactly. And they're still holding on to yesterday's metrics, the 100 calls a day, phone calls, all of that. And the leaders that can come in and say, wait a minute, inside sales is about the phone. It's about email. It's about texting. It's about video. It's about apps. It's about web conferencing. That's a more robust inside salesperson. And they're going to get different talent if they start looking for different things.
I really appreciate that you mentioned texting and video. On our own AISP top challenges research we do every year, we started including that a couple of years ago. We're starting to see the use of texting dramatically increase. Yes. And we're also seeing a little video increase as well. It's like how you and I are communicating now using the video. It's
Absolutely.
funny. I use this video to connect with our staff members, to the point where I've actually forgotten their phone number. So
there you go. I like it. I really like it. I mean, I've been telling inside salespeople they've got to start looking good from the waist up, right? Because that's video.
That's great.
And I really believe that video is the new voicemail. I've received a few intros from some reps that are only about, maybe 70 seconds long, almost 2 minutes. And it's a short snippet. It's fantastic. It's visual, it's video, and it rules.
Yeah.
And voicemail is dying. It is completely dying.
That's amazing. Any other comments you want to make about all this change we're seeing? And I think that's the best way to describe it. You mentioned about this future thing. Do you have a crystal ball out there? Can you give us maybe a view of what you think's coming down as it pertains to our profession of sales or inside sales?
Yeah, I mean, I say a lot of things. One of them is that we're really noticing field sales wants to come inside, right? Yeah. They want to play in our sandbox. Yeah. And remember, you've heard the statistics. For every 15 inside salespeople, we've got one field person being hired. I mean, the numbers are just dramatically changing. So of course, field sales wants to be part of the party. They want to join the club, but they're not really the ones that are going to be as successful. They are much more used to getting in an airplane or in a car. They're used to the face-to-face. They are not early adopters of tools. We know that. They traditionally don't enter notes, right?
You're right. You're so right. It's incredible how times have changed, right? It used to be that, the inside sales rep came in and said, I can't wait till I get out there and get this big field job. And, I think there's healthy movement both ways. And I think there's always, going to be a need for face-to-face. I mean, that's, in a sense, it's irreplaceable, but it's not necessary much of the time. Which maybe brings me to another question. Anything you're seeing with the customer out there that you want to talk about?
Well, this customer is messing up our sales cycle, right? We know that. They're just so independent. They're doing everything on their own. They're engaging so much later in the sales process. I mean, you've heard all those numbers up to, 70% into the sales processes when they decide to engage. Yeah. And they're just, we're still trying to figure them out, Right. And they're really the one that is just saying, I don't need anyone. I don't need you. I can do this on my own. I will do it on my own. So, you know, they're still wanting a relationship though, but it's much more of a virtual relationship. They're really not picking up the phone saying, hey, I want a rep to come by and we go to lunch and play golf. I mean, those days are gone.
Yeah, you're so right. And I've been picking up on something, and I want to run it by you to see if you have any comments on it. And that is, since this digital buying process is done quickly, you know, sometimes on mobile apps, but it needs to be highly accurate, and reps need to have the answers. So since we've been hiring all these people to fill this dramatic job growth, we have less experience out there. Is there more importance now being placed on how accurate and knowledgeable an inside sales rep is, so they can answer that question when it does come?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the knowledgeable reps, the intelligent reps are the ones that are going to stay around. I really believe that now that we have a lot of these dialers and a lot of this stuff can be automated, those are the reps that are going to be replaced. I mean, those are not the ones that are going to have a long life to them, but the intelligent ones that can really pull from all the sales intelligence, and they can understand, you know, where customers at, meet them on their terms, nurture content to them, and start developing that relationship, are the ones that will be indispensable.
I mean, we've all had the experience where we call our internet service provider, need help, and we got to call 3 different times, and finally we get that person, boom, they give us an answer, and we get it fixed. So those are some outstanding observations that you shared with us. Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave the audience about 2016 just before we conclude?
You know, my biggest issue is that I'm really working with managers. I feel that the managers have got to get out of the way, because they're in their own way. You know, they believe they're doing it. I know they're stretched out. They're doing the best they can, but some of them are either getting in the way, or they're just not updating the way they should or could, and yet they're just not understanding how to manage the way they you know, the best way they could. And yet, between the tools and the different generations that they've got to manage, and the fact that there's a whole new reality out there, these managers are in a tough role more than ever before. And I think my biggest recommendation is that they're the ones that need to open up and be, you know, open to new ways of changing, because it's on their shoulders.
Yeah, that's good. Good advice. Really good advice. If you're a leader out there, you know, be ready for change and be a change agent, if you will. Josiane, it's been fantastic just tapping into your expertise and your
My pleasure.
If you could just take a minute and mention about your books that you have, and then if anyone wants to sort of continue this conversation, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Our site is www.tele-smart.com, and most definitely our trend report is a fun report to download. My 2 books, Smart Selling on the Phone and Smart Sales Manager, still continue to be the source books for inside sales. So stay in touch, especially through LinkedIn as well.
Great. Thanks again for joining us. I hope everyone enjoyed this video with Josiane Feigon. Have a great rest of the week and a great start to 2016. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.